Hey guys, Chari5 here, and October has begun. And as some of you may know, I do a little thing called Creepy Month. I started that tradition, I guess, maybe 4 years ago. And what it usually is me reading creepypastas or, creepy stories that I find online. But this year, I didn't really have anything prepared. Kind of like last year, I didn't really know if I was going to do it again, because last year got a little stressful trying to keep up with the whole upload per day thing. Not to mention, not a lot of people were watching it, and, I'm still sort of afraid of that this year, where it's like I have literally 6-digit subscribers now, and only 2-digit subscribers watch, or 3-digit, which is still not very. That's not a lot better. But I'm going to be doing the Inktober challenge, and for those of you that don't know the Inktober challenge, I hope that I can explain it correctly. Basically, what you're doing is every single day, you're doing a drawing purely in ink. So that's 31 drawings in pure ink, start to finish. And in my case, well, the reason I'm doing this mostly is because my sister actually started a challenge, and I don't know, I think she's handling it on a weekly basis on her channel. So like she's going to be doing the drawings and then showcasing them every week instead of every day. And she has her own channel, which I'll link to at the end, once she has her videos up. For me though, like I wanted to keep in the tradition of daily uploads, so I figured, you know what, I'll do this sort of retrospective kind of thing every day as well. And I'm actually doing it digitally instead of ink, which is what is, that's a huge rule. It's called Inktober for a reason. But I figured, you know what, if I'm going to be doing this digitally instead of, with ink, I should have my own rules that, that kind of give me a handicap. And I figure, you know what, well, with ink, you can have a pencil basis, but I figured just to make it more interesting, what I'm going to handicap myself with is I'm going to do it as close to form as possible, in the sense that I'm only using one tool from Krita, which is the software I use to do these, which is a custom ink tool that I made, quote unquote. I adjusted some of the settings within the program and made a pen tool, which I call it my manga tool because it kind of reminds me of manga a little bit, and that's what I use to outline nowadays. So that's the only tool I'm using. I cannot hit Control-Z for anything, so I cannot undo anything. A line that I apply is a line that stays, and you'll see that sometimes during this drawing I do hit Control-Z, but it was for stupid things that my tablet glitched out or something, and those don't count. But other than that, I think I hit Control-Z a total of twice, and it was for really minor things. You might not even notice. And honestly, it wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. We have this list of characters we're going to be drawing, for the month of October. It is still in tune with Creepy Month. So this week, we're starting off with movie monsters, and obviously, if you haven't read the title, or if you don't recognize who it is at this point, we're starting off with Freddy Krueger from Nightmare on Elm Street. Movies I didn't grow up with. I was always a huge chicken shit when it came to watching scary movies. I was terrified of all of them. Although I did always love Halloween. I ever since I was a child, I've loved Halloween, and I love this holiday a lot. In Mexico, it's something that they've started adopting, actually. Before it was just Day of the Dead, but no one really dressed up for anything, and now they're kind of adopting Halloween because they realized how fun it is. And I'm glad, it's not as big as it is here in the States, but, I'm actually kind of excited to be back in the States for Halloween, because I haven't been here for Halloween in over 10 years, and I'm kind of excited to see if, kids still celebrate it the way they did when I was a kid. But I guess going back to what I was saying just for a brief second, those are pretty much the handicaps. I can only use the one tool, even though I know a lot of people use different tools when inking, and no do-overs. What I apply is what I can use. If I decide to use a guide, in this case I did, I cannot erase that guide, and you're going to see that in a bit. But yeah, I've always been very afraid of a lot of things, very spooky things. Not so much anymore. I'm have a morbid curiosity for creepy stuff now. And a lot of people did grow up on the Nightmare on Elm Street series, and I knew people that did, but I was never particularly really too interested in it. Like, I knew of Freddy Krueger, and I never thought he was really all that scary, honestly. Like, even just the concept, despite not watching the movies, just his image and, you know, the idea of him didn't really seem all that scary to me. And I only just recently watched the movies for the first time, like, probably a year or two ago. I saw it all the way up to, I think, the 5th movie, maybe. And honestly, I can say they're good popcorn movies. I do, like, my sister and I watched them and we had good fun with them. Especially the first one. Oh my God, the first one. We were laughing. I cannot not laugh at horror movies. To me, all of them, no matter how classic they are, I laugh at. I find them hilarious. I cannot take them seriously at all. And Nightmare on Elm Street was no different for me. I like the story. I like the concept behind the villain. I genuinely do. I do like Freddy as a villain. However, to me, it's weird because his personality is played up so much, despite the fact that he really, if you look back at the movies, or at least the first few movies, he doesn't have many lines, and as a result, not really too much of a personality. And I'm not saying, like I said, I like the concept of the villain. I do love, you know, his design. Robert Englund is genuinely a really creepy dude when he's in makeup. And I love his voice. Oh, you bitch. You know, stuff like that. I don't know. There's something about his voice that I absolutely love. And, you know, the fact that he kills you in your dreams. That's such a cool thing. And it's so scary, too, because it's like, oh, it really does make you afraid of going to sleep. But did I ever find him, like, particularly scary? No, not really. Again, his movies, I think, are really fun popcorn movies. They're really fun to watch and sit through. Though, you know, again, when it comes to the hype behind the character, it's like, as a concept, he's good and I like him, but practically, and like when it comes to his personality and when it comes to, you know, his lines and stuff, it's like maybe I missed it, but they're far and in between. As the movies go along, they do focus more on the character, as most horror movies do, I've noticed. But yeah, for a lot of the characters we'll be drawing, I actually haven't seen many of these classic movies, you know. For example, I guess spoiler alert, tomorrow is Jason Voorhees, and I've never seen a single Friday the 13th movie. Which, you know what, actually, I really wanted to change the list, but we did it really last minute. October this year has a Friday the 13th, so we should have waited for that, but, you know, whatever, I guess. I've never seen a single Friday the 13th movie, except once, because they were showing it on TV, I had the pleasure of watching Jason X, or Friday the 13th X, whatever the movie was where he was in space. Sweet Lord. And I guess I've seen bits and pieces of Freddy versus Jason, but, you know, I've never seen a true to form Friday the 13th movie, and I'm honestly not all too interested. I don't know. There's a lot of these horror villains that I'm just not all too interested in at all. And Freddy was one of them. He was one character that I was like, you know what? I'm interested enough to actually watch his movies and see what he's all about. Jason Voorhees, not as much. And I know that the first movie isn't even about him, you know. But there are other characters. There are other characters that we'll be drawing that I'm more excited to draw. Because, you know, this is, again, as with a lot of my redone thumbnails, while I have a reference, I don't plan out what I'm drawing, you know, and this isn't supposed to look like anything, you know. I have the reference, I'm drawing. You can see what the reference is if you look up, you know, images online. You can clearly see what reference I'm using, but I'm not exactly trying to replicate it true to form 100%. I'm doing what I can with what I have, because again, I can't erase, and it does kill me, because because it's just like, oh, like those eyes. I don't know if you noticed it earlier, but I said that the eyes were killing me. And yeah, they're like, one is really different than the other. It's kind of like tilted and some of the shadows kind of don't work. But I did my best, and actually I am quite proud of this piece. Like, for what I did, it's very scribbly. I like the scribbly effect, and I can't wait to see what the others are gonna be like, because I didn't really think of what a style I would have, like if I should make them cartoony or not. But I figured, you know what? No, I do cartoony stuff all the time. I kind of wanted to do something a little bit more realistic this time. Favorite and I guess most memorable Freddy moment from the movies, at least the ones I've seen. I don't know why. To me, the one that sticks the most, and this might have been because I once saw my cousins watching this movie. I don't remember exactly which one it's from. I think it might be from the fourth movie. The one where he's fighting this dude within the dream, and this guy knows like martial arts or something, and that he actually like takes Freddy's scissor hands off, which I think is a really novel weapon. At least maybe for the time. I've always loved the idea. He takes his scissor, their blades, his blade fingers off, whatever, and like throws them across the room, and then they come back and like stab him in the back. Like, I've always thought that's a pretty memorable one. Another one that I like a lot is there's a comic book one. I think it might be from the same movie actually. Where like he just gets torn to shreds, and you just see like the comic book like pop up torn to shreds in real life, something like that. I don't remember exactly, but I think that's what happens. And I think it's because it was a comic book that I remember it so much. It was a very interesting concept. But I do have to say that the first one, the original Nightmare on Elm Street, is probably the most memorable for me. I just remember the characters more. I remember the situations more. Some pretty morbid stuff. Like, that was the first time Johnny Depp was in anything. Like, it's hard to believe that, right? Because like, you don't immediately associate Johnny Depp with A Nightmare on Elm Street, but that was his very first movie, and he did a pretty good job with it. The swirling vortex of blood that he's in, that's very memorable. You know what? Despite that, I can't remember the characters' names. Like the girl from the movies. Like, she's the main character, and she like comes back later as like an adult now that she's been through all this and stuff. I think she's like a teacher later on or something. I always thought that was really cool. But yeah, like, if there's any other like Freddy media you think I should watch, by all means tell me, let me know. But yeah, like, drawing this was a lot of fun. I hope you like it, and I hope that you're looking forward to a lot more of the things that we have in store for you, because this is a collaborative effort between my sister and I. Again, she'll probably have her stuff up by the end of the week, because I don't think she's going to be doing a daily thing. She's going to be showcasing it on a weekly basis, I believe. So you'll have to wait for that link. But this is the final result. I really hope you guys like it, and welcome to Creepy Month. It might be a little less creepy than other years because, you know, I'm not narrating and trying to do creepy voices with royalty-free music in the background and using other people's stories, which, you know, they then contact me and ask me to take the videos down, that one author. But it's a fun concept. I get to draw, which is something I love. This is something, you know, pretty fast, but it's still a great exercise. I've never done the Inktober challenge before, and this is very interesting. I think it's going to help me with my with my artistry, you know, in terms of having to not erase anything and doing everything pretty much from scratch and still trying to make it look good. Reference alone, no eraser, nothing. But until next time, stay safe and stay awesome. This is Char5, signing off. Bitch.